Good morning,
Good morning, Miss Austin.
Good morning, class. So today we're going to be talking about questioning. You guys remember we've been using questions when we read our text. So who can tell me why we would ask questions during the text? Jack,
Understand the text and then
that's good. Does anyone else have any reasons why we would ask ourselves questions? Yeah?
because sometimes there might be stuff that we don't get.
Good. Casey, did you have something?
To wonder what the author is telling us.
Good. So we ask questions if we're curious about something, if we want to predict what will happen next, or if you want to make something more clear. So if you don't understand a story like Jacqueline has said. So there's two types of questions that we use in school. Some of the ones that we try not to use a lot of the thinner questions, which are who, what, where, when, and how many. Because those are just simple questions. They're right there in the text. And they don't really take a lot of thinking. So the thick questions are what we're going to work on today. And those take thinking and searching for them. So what if? How did? Why did? What would happen if? What might? How would you feel if? And what do you think? So those are more of a thicker question that we can use when we're reading books independently or with a partner. So today's learning target is I can ask questions to learn more about a text. Can you guys repeat that?
I can ask questions to learn more about a text.
About a text.
Jacqueline, can you read that out loud for me one more time?
I can ask questions to learn more about a text.
Good. So,
She looks silly.
so we're going to use pictures today instead of a book. So, for example, I'm going to model. If I were to ask a question, I might say, why do I think that she's holding her head? What might be going on in her life that would make her do that?
Her husband is being annoying.
Bills.
Her kids are running around.
She hates her job.
So this question isn't just a straightforward question. It's not going to be answered right away. I might have to think about it really hard. I might have to do more searching and if it was a book, I would have to search more in the book for other clues. So that's just one example of a question. So now I want you guys to think of some questions. Just think about it for about a minute, and then we're going to turn and talk to a partner, and then we'll share it out. So think about some questions that you could ask about this picture. Alright, so I want you guys to turn and talk to a partner about what you think that might be happening in this picture. Think of some good questions.
What is that little guy in back? What's that? Why are they all busy now? What is it? What are they reading for? Do you think they're reading like they're just posing for a picture and they're really reading? I think they're faking. That one's so sad. I don't like her.
Okay. So, Jacqueline, what is one of the questions that you guys came up with in your group?
What are they reading about?
Kat, do you have another question?
Yeah.
What is your question?
What is the little guy in the background doing? The little picture.
Casey, did you have a question?
Why does that girl not have shoes on?
That is a very good observation. Did anyone else catch that?
No.
Can I take my shoes off?
We have to leave our shoes
Me
on
too.
in school. So you guys kind of getting the idea? We're going to go through a couple more pictures and see if we can come up with some really good questions. Okay. So I want you guys to think about this picture. What might you wonder about this picture? Think to yourself, I wonder why, or I wonder what. Think about those type of questions. What if? Alright, why don't you turn and talk to a partner?
What if her mom found out that she was handprinting all over the walls at home? Why is she on this? Why is she smiling? How come one hand she has two colors and the other hand she has one? I wonder why she's holding her hands up. Maybe for a picture. Yeah, I wonder why. I just don't. Maybe she's making turkeys. I wonder if it's Thanksgiving time and she can't put these. I'm making turkey. Oh. I wonder.
1, 2, 3, eyes on me.
1, 2,
Eyes on you.
Alright, so what are some of the questions you guys came up with? Kat?
I wonder if she's gonna get in trouble for having paint on her hands.
I like that. I wonder if. Casey, I like the question that you had about what did you notice about the colors?
Oh, I said I wonder why she has two colors on one hand and only one on the other.
Jacqueline, did you have a question?
I wonder why she's holding up her.
Does anyone think they can answer any of these questions?
No, it doesn't tell us.
What would we need to do to find the answers?
Ask her.
Mom. Ask her mom.
Yeah. Maybe read a book about her.
So they're not just right there in the picture? You can't
No.
just see.
No.
Good. So here's our next picture. Start to think and generate some of your own questions. Who might these kids be? Who do you think they're with? Why are they jumping? How are they related to each other? All these things. Why don't you turn and talk to a partner?
Where are they? I wonder if they're friends. I wonder if they're siblings. I wonder if they're in the fall. I wonder if they're showing up for someone. I bet it's summer. I bet it's summer too. I wonder though, maybe there's some place where it's warm all the time. Like Hawaii, my cousins. Maybe I never met them. No, actually, I just don't.
I wonder how many times they have to take the picture.
I wonder why that one girl's feet aren't that far off the ground. I wonder why that one boy looks like he has no legs. Oh my god, maybe he doesn't. That's a high jump then.
If you can hear me, clap once. If you can hear me, touch your head. Alright, what are some of the questions you guys came up with this picture?
I wonder if they're friends.
Trying to think of a what if question. Did anybody talk about that? What if?
What if one of them falls?
What if one of them falls? That's a good question. Do we have one more question?
I wonder if they're taking a picture.
You guys are coming up with some really great questions and some really great statements with your I wonder. So here's our next picture. You have some questions that you might, if you were reading this in a book, what might you wonder about this picture? Ask yourself. What would you want to know more about?
I wonder why she thinks it's going to be helpful to have like this instead of picking it up. I wonder why some of them are reacting something. I wonder if she's at a base.
Does anybody have any questions they'd like to share? It's a really good discussion over here. Yeah.
I wonder if she stole the money. Oh, that'd be a good story. I'm gonna write one like that.
That's a good idea.
Will you help me with the word? What did you steal?
This is why we need to continue to read in our books to find out and to use the pictures as a clue too. Any other questions about this picture? Easy.
I wonder why some of the monies are stacked and some are not. I have money. I have a change pig.
Not anymore. I still
Do you stack your money or do you just lay your money out?
I put it in the pig.
Put it in the pig. Does your pig count the money for you?
No, I'll count it.
Do you think she has a pig?
Maybe that's where she got it from.
Maybe.
Oh, she's saving up for a bike.
Jacqueline, do you have a question?
I wonder what she'll spend all that money on.
A bike. She's getting a bike. I bet she has enough pennies there.
I bet she's buying a puppy.
All right, you guys ready to see our last picture?
Bless you.
Here's our last picture. Think of some questions that you could ask yourself while observing this picture. What do you think? Whoever's taking the picture, what do they want to capture in this picture?
I wonder if it's in the medium, which baby or a pool party with family. I wonder if they follow the don't eat 30 minutes before you move.
I wonder if they can get a swim because they all have bullying things.
Except for that blonde. Ooh, two of them, but he's holding down his little girls here.
I wonder if there's sun in that.
She's going like this.
Yeah. All right, I want to hear some of your questions, but I want to hear questions. Now, I wonders anymore. Questions. Can I think of a why question? Let's think of why are they swimming? Why are they swimming? Can I ask a what question? You may ask a what question.
What are they all looking at?
Ooh, I like that question. That's the first thing I thought of. Think of one more. Jacqueline, do you have a question? Why did that little girl?
The sun, you said that. The sun.
So, when you guys are reading your books, I want you to be thinking of these questions while you're reading. So
we
that
ask questions about the pictures, or do we ask questions about?
That's a good question. When you're reading, I want you to think about if you have a question about what the author is saying in his or her book, and if it's about a picture, you can ask it about a picture, or if it's about something that you just don't understand that they're writing, you can ask a question about that too. So, anybody have any questions? Yes, Kat.
What are we going to read?
Well, this is for when you're doing independent reading. So I don't want you to just read just to read. I want you to be thinking about what the author is saying, what the pictures are telling you, and so on. So who can remember our learning target? Anybody remember what it was?
I can ask. It was about questions.
To learn more about a text.
Do you guys think that from this lesson you guys are going to be able to ask more thicker questions?
Yeah, because thin questions are like who, what, where, when, why.
Right, so thin questions are ones that you can pull right from the book. Like, what is this character's name? It'll say that right in the book.
Yeah.
How many people are on this page? It'll have a picture. So the thicker questions are like, I wonder what would happen if, and then you can,
It's like stuff you don't know yet.
right, and you have to search